Hi folks, Michael here again from Countryside. Today we're going to talk about holiday planters. It's that time of year, winter's close. It's actually snowing a little bit outside right now, so good time to take care of these in your yard. So first thing, most people have just containers outside with potting soil in them. That is perfectly fine to use. You have to realize that the greens that we've been putting in these planters are still a living organism. So they do need to have some water source that they're going to be able to draw up water from. So even if you put them in your potting soil and your pots that you have already, that will work. We just make sure that we keep them moist throughout the season. If it does dry out, make sure you water them just like you do during the summertime. What we do here at Countryside is we put them in plastic containers like this. We put some gravel on the bottom just for some weight. We put some mulch in the middle, and we put this Oasis foam on the top. This really works really well because it holds in moisture a lot better than regular soil does. So we put these on the top here, and most of our greens are going to stick inside of here. And when we put a fresh cut on all of our greens, it'll help to soak up moisture throughout the season so your needles don't dry out and fall off as quickly. Okay, so the first step for most of our containers is we put a tall element in the middle. So we're going to use a spruce top like this. So they come to us in all various sizes. So you want to get one that's kind of relatively the height that you want to be for your container. So I picked one about this size, so it's going to be about maybe 2 feet taller than the top of the container. So all I do is I trim up some of the bottom branches here, so make sure it's nice and smooth along both edges. And I cut a little point at the end here to make it a little pointy so it's easier to go into the pot. You can keep some of these side branches that were on here like this because we can use them inside the container as well. So when you're going to put them in a planter like this, we use some string to crisscross over the middle of the Oasis here to hold it in place. That's in case we have some high winds and such, that way the planter won't fall out of the pot like easily. So the string's holding it down, so you want to, when you put it in the center of your pot like this, you want to make sure not to hit that crisscross where the string is. You're going to go off to the side just a little bit. So over here off to the side like that. And we're going to push straight down into the container. So when you have in this position, if you have a little bit of a wiggle to it, you can go ahead and add a little extra branch. We can cut off some waste branch over here like this. And just take a little piece of branch and we can shove it in here just to hold it up straight. So make sure it's nice and straight when we start. So this way we have it up nice and straight inside the container like this. Okay, so now we have our spruce top in. The next step is to put in some of our what we call base greens. Well, we use a lot of times here at Countryside either balsam or Douglas fir. So what we do in this case is we want to make your planter fairly pyramidal shape. So we have the height here, so we want the branches coming down in a pyramidal form like this. So we're going to cut our base greens to about this length to make it where it's nice and pyramidal coming down the side of your planter. So you don't want them too long, you don't want them too short here on the sides. We're going to start here, go on the sides like this. We're going to go around the base with a flat layer horizontal to the side of the pot like this. And then we're going to put some angled in as we go up to the side towards the middle of the planter. What the goal is here is to not see any more of the foam once we're done with all our base greens. So I'm going to start that now. All right. Okay, so now I've got most of our base greens in. This is our balsam. So we start off with branches like this, and I cut them into various lengths to make them useful for the planter, for the size that you need for your planter. So again, I did a layer of horizontal right around the bottom of the pot, and then I came in with another layer angled up a little bit like this, another one angled up a little bit higher. What you're trying to do is fill in this whole gap right here. So you're basically trying to make it so you don't see the foam anymore. You want it pretty full of greens. So, and we do like a little spin test like this, just to kind of spin your pot around a few times just to make sure you don't have any holes or gaps going on. So then at this point, I also take some of the spruce tip that I cut off some of the bottom part of the branches. I go ahead and pop some of those in as well. So you can see the spruce tips kind of going down with the layers of branches. So I just kind of keep with that same look, and I'm going to go ahead and pop these in along the side as long as they look nice. I'm just going to give them everything you put inside your planter, you're going to put a fresh cut on as well. So make sure you put a fresh cut, and as soon as you put it in that Oasis, it's going to hold in there, and then keep that oasis moist, and they'll soak up some moisture throughout the season and keep your planters looking great throughout the whole season. So there we go. So now we got all our kind of base greens in. So next step, we usually put a couple of different types of greens in there as well. So now we have some balsam, some short needle balsam going on. So we're going to put in some other things as well. So I brought out a couple examples here. So this is kind of a variegated type of cedar. So it's got a little different look to it. So this is a nice short needle. This is more of a broadleaf kind of needle like this. So again, what you're going to do is make sure everything has a fresh cut on it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut some of these pieces off here. I'm going to put a few in here along the side. So it's kind of up to your discretion as to how many pieces you want to put around it, just to make it look a little nice. So I'm going to put maybe like 5 or so in this one, just around the base of the plant. A little more horizontal because this cedar is kind of falls over on it by itself. That's kind of its look like this. So it's going to be kind of a drapey look. So I'm going to put it around the side of the planter a little bit, like this. I'll go ahead and cut a couple more pieces off of here. There we go. So it gives you a little different texture. And again, just keep spinning your pot around like this, makes it simple. So you get all the way around the back part where you started. So then I pick a little different plant, a little different type of green as well. So I got some pine here. This is white pine. It's a nice long needle look. So I'm going to put some of these in here. And I cut off pieces. Now these are kind of a little more of an arching look like this. So what I'm going to do with these guys is I kind of put them in more upright like this. So I'm going to pop a couple up here upright and just push straight down, because they're naturally going to kind of come falling out of the pot like this. So I'm going to put a few in here around of the white pines. So the key is just to get a nice mix of different greens going on, so you have a different look. So I'm going to go around and just keep spinning your pot like this and popping in some different greens as you go around. And some pieces are a little nicer than others. So this one's got like 3 or 4 pieces going on, so I can put it in the middle here. Gives me a nice look. A nice bunched look like that. And so I'll put a couple more on this side. You have to balance it out on this side as well. All right, so now we're pretty well greened up, and then we'll go on to the next step from here. Okay, so now we have all our base greens into the planter. So most all our planters start off this way. So if you just get a nice mix of different greens going, this is where we start. So now we can do different things to the planter from this point on. It depends on what kind of look you're going for. Some people want to have more of a winter planter and have something that'll last throughout the winter season and not so much holiday. So in that case, you would do things a little differently. We usually add like an evergreen plant like this, like boxwood. You can put in a couple sticks around the middle portion. Sometimes you could do something like this. You can add some different magnolia. And this is called naked seeded eucalyptus. So we can put this thing in here, and it's a nice mix of colors that'll last you throughout the whole winter season. It's not so much holiday. So you can do, go down different roads and see what you might like to do for your planter. In this case, I'm going to do one that's a little bit more holiday. It's going to be more of a red and white type of planter. So I'm going to use some of this. This is called red huck. It's very similar to boxwood. It's an evergreen type of planter. Again, every time you use anything, we want to make sure that we would do a fresh cut on it. Every time you do a fresh cut, that allows the plant, this stem to take up some more moisture throughout the season, and it won't dry out as quickly. So fresh cut, and we're going to put a couple just around, more upright, just right up against the spruce top like this. So in this case, I'm going to use just 4 around the middle of the planter here like this. So again, everybody gets a fresh cut around the middle. All right, so it gives a little bit of different texture in there like that. And so in this case, I'm going to use some winterberry to give it a little shot of red in there. Gives a nice bright look. So winterberry comes in stems like this. So what I'm going to do is I usually cut off the tips here that don't have berries on them. So I'm just going to chop these off. And again, fresh cut on the bottom. And you only need a couple of these guys to give a really nice look to your planter. So we're going to have one here on this side. And then trim off some of these guys. We'll put one in over here. And we got one more. So we usually do things in kind of odd numbers, so 3s or 5s. So in this case, we're going to do 3 of the winterberry. So we got 3 berries going around like this. And then for a little bit of extra height and a little bit of another color added to it, I'm going to add some white sticks in here like this. So you can see the sticks, you don't want your sticks to be too much taller than your spruce top. So I'm going to cut them down to where they're going to enter the pot and not be much taller. So give it a little trim it from the bottom like that, and then go ahead and stick in, one around here. And we'll do a couple more around the same height. So again, we usually do them like in 3s, so we're going to do three white sticks here. So we sell all these things in bunches. So usually the bunches are for 2 planters. So if you're going to do 2 matching planters, there's enough sticks to do 2. Same thing with all the other bunches of greens that we sell. So usually it's meant, so go ahead and buy 1 bunch for 2 planters on most of these. So we got a little bit of red and white going in there now. And then a little added effect on the end, we're going to put some cones in. These cones happen to come with little sticks on them already. If not, we can put some wire on it. And what we've done in the past is take any kind of a branch you might have like this that you want to use and wrap some wire around a branch and stick it in there to hold the cone in place. But this one's nice, it has a stick on it already. So we're going to kind of put it the opposite of the white sticks we have. So we're just going to kind of stick them in here like this. So we've got a white one there, a little bit of white coming out of here, and a little bit of white on this side. So that's pretty much it for your planter. We do sell an awful lot of other types of accoutrements you can put into your planters. We have white stars, we have balls, we have other lotus pods, and all different types of things that you can add to whatever to make your planter custom the way you want it to look. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and stop at this point because I think this looks nice. So we have a nice pyramidal shape. We got some white here and white in the cones. Got a little bit of red to everything stand out. And we got different types of different greens going on here. Again, everybody's different, so you can customize your planter the way you want. You can have all different shapes and sizes. Just make sure that we keep them moist throughout the season. If you want to use a product called wilt proof, that does help with it as well. Wilt proof is something that helps it keep the needles from falling off. So you can spray it on. It's almost like a waxy coating. Helps any of the needles from drying out and falling off very quickly. So try out doing your own planters this year. If you need any help, always come in and ask one of our happy elves. Will be happy to help you out with setting up your planters. And thanks very much for watching. Have a good day.